Hey everyone, welcome to Ask My Footprint. My name is Nyssa. If you're new here, we are a large family living off-grid in Australia. It is Wednesday afternoon and it is late, and this is not when I wanted to be doing this, or anyway. So, it is our 6-weekly grocery trip. Now this grocery trip is a little bit of an odd one. Fuel at the moment, diesel is up at like $3.10 to $3.20 per litre. It's expensive. Standard petrol isn't too bad, like it's more expensive than it has been, but it isn't too bad, just unleaded, but diesel is expensive. Now, our ute uses diesel, and we use our ute for all our water cartage, but I'm also taking it down for groceries this trip because I'm helping Mum to clean out her apartment before she moves out into our property. So I'm taking the ute and the trailer so that I can have the ute to do some tip runs for her or to collect some stuff or whatever, but also wanted the extra space because I don't know what's going to happen. So 6 weeks is a really long time. So the plan was to go grocery shopping every 6 weeks. The next trip may not be 6 weeks. It may be longer because once Mum moves out here, I'm not sure how it's going to work. And therefore, a lot can happen in a 6-week period. Like in the last 6 weeks, the petrol's gone up, what, $1 a litre or something? Since I got diesel when I did my last trip. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but it was $2 something, $2.20 maybe. Actually, I think it was under $2. Can't remember, but petrol has gone up considerably, which means that the trip going more often. So I used to go I went every 4 to 6 weeks, and then I dragged it out to every 12 weeks because we were having issues with money and cash flow and all the rest of it. And the idea was if I dragged it out, then we spend less because we use what we have, less cost for the trip and all the rest of it. Then we were in a little bit of a better financial position, especially with starting the new job and things like that. So I brought them back into the 6 weekly because it's more convenient to shop the 4 to 6 weeks. To be fresh food wise is more convenient. It's less work. It's less product bought, things like that. And now we're stuck in this position where I was doing them every 4 to 6 weeks, and now I may have to drag them back out to 12 weekly just because the cost of going is going to increase because of petrol and stuff, but also because I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it. Now, I could do a day trip to Costco instead of staying anywhere overnight. And it's a long day, but it's doable. But I can't really do a day trip to the fruit and veg. I could, but it would be... like you'd have to go down really early in the morning, go to the fruit and veg, go to Costco, and then come home to make it worthwhile. And that's a significantly longer trip. So I just don't know what I'm going to do yet. There is a Coles and Woolworths in Toowoomba. There's multiple Coles and Woolworths in Toowoomba, which is an hour and a half away. So I can shop Coles and Woolworths there. But their stock levels are never great. There's also a Woolworths in Pittsworth, which is about an hour away. Again, stock levels are not great. Regularly just don't stock certain things that I buy when I go into Brisbane to buy it, or just don't have the quantities on the shelf. So it ends up being a more regular shopping trip, which then counteracts the cost savings and time savings by going local, which is why I stopped going. So I used to find that I'd have to go sort of fortnightly into Toowoomba. I couldn't even ever really drag it out to monthly because the produce that I was buying wasn't good quality enough, so it wasn't lasting, and they just didn't have the stock of things. I couldn't get enough at Aldi's. And I could possibly go to multiple Coles, multiple Woolworths across Toowoomba to do it, but that's not much fun. And I wouldn't want to be doing it with a trailer on either, because going in and out of the car parks would not be fun either. So I don't know what I'm going to do just yet. We will figure it out. Darryl can always pick things up at Woolworths and Coles and stuff in town, in Toowoomba if need be. So it's not like we can't get food. It's just going to be different. I don't know yet. So because of that, it's like there's this flux of how much do I buy, and do I buy more of things or not, or what's worth buying more of and what's not. So originally, I wasn't going to go to the Golden Cockerel outlet this trip. I was going to do every second trip, except that I don't know when the next trip is going to be. And the price there's certain things that they already have stopped selling. Like they did have the boxes of breasts, and there was a post recently about how because of stuff and the costs, and they no longer sell the boxes of breasts. They only sell them on a per kilo basis. Now I think it did say it was $8 a kilo, mind you, which is still cheaper than buying it from anywhere else, but it's not like the $60 15 kilo boxes that they were selling. So there's already been a change there. I have noticed that they seem to sell out quicker too. So we're going to go this week. So the plan was to leave first thing tomorrow morning, except that I can't because the blocks for Mum's building are being delivered tomorrow morning. And we've had some issues today with the bank. Darryl was in Toowoomba and was supposed to get the cash out to pay the contractors tomorrow, and there has been issues with the bank and the ATM chucking a tanty, and then he couldn't get the money out from a different ATM because the first ATM said that he'd already taken money out, and there's a limit of the amount that you can get out per day. And then when I spoke to the bank, because I rang them to see if they could do anything about it, and when I spoke to them, I mentioned that my husband was doing it, and apparently that's not allowed. So because of that, they suspended all my accounts and all my cards without telling me. So I got off the phone, went to transfer money, and couldn't get into anything. So then I had to spend another 25 minutes on hold with the bank to then talk to this person who said that because I mentioned my husband was using my card, she suspended and locked all of my cards and accounts. Except she didn't tell me that. She just hung up from me and did it. So then I had to call the call centre back and sit on hold for another 25 minutes to be able to fix that up. So Darryl's going to have to come home, and I'm going to have to go in with the other account to go and try and get enough cash out for the delivery tomorrow. And so that delivery is happening first thing in the morning. We still have to rope off the perimeter. But his time in Toowoomba has taken so long that he's going to be home probably after dark. So we're going to have to go and do that at like 6 o'clock in the morning because we're going to have to go back into town to get, anyway, timing. So I won't be leaving here till whenever I leave here. I don't know when that is. I have organised delivery of Coles and Woolworths to Mum's place for tomorrow afternoon though. So hopefully I'm there because I like to get it delivered and put it straight into the trailer rather than taking it all upstairs to Mum's and then having to bring it all back down, other than the cold stuff obviously. We shall see. Now, so I did the online order for Coles and Woolworths, and I'll show you my planning like I normally do each month. But I've found that I've bought a few more of things that are on sale, and it's a lot of convenience type stuff that I don't buy a lot of generally per shop, but I've bought extras of because they're the kind of things that are far more expensive to buy out here or harder to get. So things like what did I get? Each month, anyone who's watched any of my grocery hauls, there's a particular Trio of Cheese brand packet of chips that I really like. Red Rock Deli, I think they are. And they are half price at the moment. So I bought half a dozen of them because for me, they'll last me 3 months. 2 months, 3 months, because that's the way I do it. The kids not so much, but for me that's fine. And that at $3 a bag, it is awfully cheap compared to buying them locally, which are $6 a bag, and they don't go on half price sale out here. And every now and again, I just want a treat. So, that sort of thing. Also corn chips, chocolate chips. So Cadbury melts were on sale 30% off, I think it was, or half price, whatever it was. And so instead of buying just the 2 that I normally would, I think I bought 4 of each, of the dark and the milk. Because again, that's something that is far more expensive to buy locally than it is to buy when it's half price there. And even going into Toowoomba, I just don't know how it's going to work at the moment. So there's certain things, convenient stuff, a few more extra cordials because I make my own cordial, but we also use sugar-free cordial. Darryl uses sugar-free cordials with the SodaStream, and I buy some standard cordials for the kids to use with the slushy machine and things like that. So whatever was on sale, I bought a few extra of. That kind of thing. So I feel like the grocery looks a little lopsided for my normal, like normally I buy a lot of Whole Foods, and I feel like there's a lot of convenience crap in it. This shop, but it's not supposed to be just for the this 6 weeks, I think, is the thing. It's supposed to be for far longer than that. And it's just a matter of making sure that it lasts the longer time, that it's all not just hoovered because it's there kind of thing. I had to take a pause to make chili oil. I was heating up the oil for chili oil because we've run out, and that's something that I normally make and leave for the kids to use. I also had plans to do some overnight oats bowls and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm going to get to any of that because our day has just been tied up with a lot of stuff that shouldn't have had to have been done. All right, so it's the next day. I didn't get to finish filming the planning video yesterday because Darryl came home. We had to mark out the line work for the new building, and the bricks are being delivered in about an hour and a half. So I have that much time to just get stuff done. We'll get the bricks laid, and then I need to leave for Brisbane. So I'm coming back in to finish this planning video. So I'm pretty sure I left off where I wanted to start turning you around and show you how I was working the planning and discussing some of the stuff with that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my iPad open and show you the way that I plan it, which I do every time I do one of these videos. So the regulars have seen it before, but it's a good way to remind me of what I was thinking about and what I need to do and stuff like that too. All right, so this is my iPad. I have an iPad Pro. I've had it for years because I use it for my artwork as well as other things. But I used to use it as a bit of a digital planner. I've sort of fallen out of the habit of it. I created this little book planner that I was going to create the different tags for and everything else, and I haven't got around to it. I was going to finish it and share it and things like that, but it's just one of those things that I use every single time I do the groceries, but haven't put the effort in to actually finishing it. It's just sad, I know. So each shopping period I mark, but I keep the copies of all the shopping periods from each month as well, and some months I put lots of effort into this planning page, and some months I don't. It really just depends on when I do it, what I've got on, how much is in my head, all that sort of thing. So what I do first is I do my inventory. So this is my inventory, and there's a copy of this on the website if you want to download it. And each month, again, I keep these for each month. So each month I can go back and check what I actually did the month before. And of course my batteries are low on the iPad. You know, that's par for the course that things are going well at the moment. Anyway, the cats are squabbling at my feet, so the dogs are barking. So I have this inventory sheet that I fill out every time I do my grocery shop. So at the beginning, before I leave the house, this is what I fill out. Now, this has been adapted based around what we use, but can be, of course, the low power mode means that it's going to go off on me. This is based around what we use for us, like what is our predominant ingredients that we use in this household. And then I have a column that says what I currently have on hand, and then I have a base number, and this base number is generally supposed to be approximately 2 times my grocery amount. So it means that if I go shopping every 6 weeks, this should be around about 12 weeks worth of item, because that way if I don't make it to another shop, then I know that I've got enough to get through. That was the idea. So I'm not a prepper as such, I'm not a hoarder as such, I'm not a any of those things, but I like to have 2 grocery periods worth of food. Now I also have a lot more than that at times because I can stuff. So I have stuff all over the shelves, like the canned fruits and some foods and stuff that's on the shelf that's obviously more than the time period. I have meat sometimes that is more than necessary for the 2 shopping periods. You know, it's not hard and fast rule, but that's generally what I use as my measuring stick for this sort of thing. So I have I delete these columns, I leave my base numbers there, and then I do my haves and my needs. Now this base column adapts depending on, when I was doing 12-week grocery shops, then it was different to when I'm doing 6-week grocery shops and things like that. And this is where this shopping trip has become a little bit of a thing. So white rice, I would normally have only kept a 5 kilo bag on hand. I decided that I bought 2 different I bought a jasmine and a basmati. They were both 5 kilo bags and they were both half price this shopping trip. So I have bought 10 kilos worth of extra rice and I've still got almost 5 kilos on hand. Rice is not something that we generally eat a huge amount of, but it's something that's easy to turn into easy meals and it's not going to go bad. So if I seal it all up and leave it, you know, sorted then and make sure no bugs get in it, then we've got rice for quite a while without it going particularly bad. So I definitely bought a little bit more rice than I would normally. I bought a bit more oats than I normally would have on hand as well, because again, they're just a nice, easy, simple thing, and a bit more sugar. So this comes back to that whole convenience thing, stuff that I can't necessarily get myself. So like I can't make my own sugar. I can use alternative things, but I can't make my own. So if I don't have sugar, then that can impact things like canning and stuff like that. So I need to have enough sugar on hand to make sure that I can do those things. So rice is a bit the same. I'm not going to be growing rice. So I need to have enough rice. The spaghettis and stuff, we've got different styles. Like we've got a plain straight spaghetti, angel hair spaghetti. We do penne or spirals and things like that. And I've bumped up the numbers just a little bit, but not particularly because we've decreased the amount of pasta we've eaten lately. It's always good to have it on hand and we have plenty, but I didn't want to overdo the pastas because I can make pasta. We have chicken, so I have eggs, and the idea is to have plenty of flour on hand, and I can make pasta if I absolutely have to. So again, a variety of things. We've got some ramen noodles, some udon noodles, some rice noodles, and then the plain wheat-based pasta. Coconut cream tins, we're not going through this as much because the kids are using more cow's milk and things, but I still will top up our stores because it's a canned good that doesn't go off, and we can use it in the replacement of milk. We can use it for cooking, for all sorts of things. So, and we do. So that's why I've done that. You can get a maximum of 20 tins at a time through Coles. I don't like the Woolworths cheap ones because they don't have the ring pull lids. So I generally buy them from Coles. What else? So UHT milk, I will probably buy far more than I normally would because we're using that a lot at the moment because the kids aren't using rice milk very much. So we will back off the rice milk, get more of the cow's milk. They're just not into cereal at the moment, so it's just not being used and it's an expensive product. So instead I will get more cow's milk, and we've still got all that coconut milk powder to make their instant oats and things like that. Again, I'll buy some more milk powder because when we're making our own yogurts, which is also another reason to get the cow's milk, UHT cow's milk, because it means I can make all my own yogurt. We'll get some more tinned corn because again, it can sit on the shelf and be used, and then all the normal tinned stuff. So tinned tomatoes, the tuna, the pesto, which I have some in the freezer, pesto, but I don't always have things I can make my own with, tomato paste and tomato passata. Now, I have some, like this is the quantities that I've got. I've got 9 tins of tomatoes and that comes in a pack of 6. I think I still just buy another pack of 6. The tin tuna, again, we have 3 of the big tins, but they come in a pack of 6, so I'll probably just buy a pack of 6. The pesto comes in flats of 12. We've got 5, maybe I'll just get another flat of 12. And then the tomato paste, I didn't put myself down for any more, but I will reconsider that. The passata is the same, we've got 8 of them, but they come in slabs of 6, so I'll probably just buy another slab of 6, though I probably wouldn't have previously this month. They're the kind of things that I'm thinking about. Other things that can't necessarily get my hands on, olive oil, sesame oil, vegetable oil, peanut oil, and ghee. They're all our fats that we generally use. I use vegetable oil for frying, the cold pressed vegetable oil from Costco. I generally use that, or rice bran oil from Costco for frying in. I use the sesame oil as a flavour thing for a lot of things, and it lasts a long time, but I'll buy a spare one because it's handy to have. It's in a sealed tin. Our olive oil, I don't know. We've got 2 litres left. Do I just buy a 6 litre pack or do I buy 2 of the 6 litre packs just in case? I'll have to assess spending when I get there. Ghee, I ordered a 10 kilo tub of ghee as a bulk, but I'll probably still buy one of our normal jarred ghees because I use those jars to decant the 10 litre into. And then a few of the extra sauces that I don't necessarily, like fish sauce, I've still got a whole one on the shelf, but I'll probably buy a brand new one because that's something I can't make either. I buy the ketchup for the hot dogs and stuff, and I'll buy the 3-pack like I normally do, but I can make tomato sauce, generally speaking. Mustards, we've still got fresh mustard. We got 2 bottles of oyster sauce. We've only got 1 of soy sauce, so I'll buy an extra of soy sauce. And like the big Nando's that I use for my marinades and stuff, we've got 1, but I'll grab an extra one. Dijon, I'll grab an extra one, that sort of thing. Vinegars. Now, white vinegar takes up a lot of room in the shop, and you can get white vinegar pretty much the same price anywhere you go. So white vinegar is not a big deal for me. I can just get it locally. But I will get some malt vinegar, some rice wine vinegar, and some apple cider vinegar. I actually didn't put down how much I was going to have a look to see how much apple cider, I need to check that. And lemon juice, again, to have for canning purposes, but I've still got 2 litres sitting there. Coffee beans. We have 2.5 on the shelf. I normally buy about 6 per 6-week period. We go through a bag-ish a week between everyone. And so normally I would buy sort of 6 and then we'd have the extra. I might have a look. The Costco beans that we like are actually on sale at the moment. So, but maybe I'll buy some Aldi ones too. So Aldi beans are like $18 a kilo. They used to be really cheap compared to a lot of other coffee beans. $18 a kilo is still $5 cheaper than the ones at Costco, but not super cheap. But they taste fine. So I'll probably buy some Aldi ones. Baking powder, again, I'll grab a couple just because need to have them on hand, and when they're sealed they're going to be fine. And I'll grab a spare gravy powder. So all these thoughts are going through while I'm planning all this. The kids haven't been eating cereal, so I won't get any cereal. We'll get some rice crackers and rice cakes because again I don't make those, and they are a really simple thing for the kids to pull out and have hummus on or peanut butter on or whatever. The kids have been liking the rice cakes with the apple butter, so we'll do that. We got plenty of jam because I've been buying up those old style jam jars from Aldi. So we've got plenty of jam at the moment, and I've got a whole bunch of pureed fruit on the shelf and a bunch of frozen fruit. So jam's not such a big deal so long as I have the sugar to make it with. I think we've got 2 peanut butters, but I'll probably grab another couple because again, I'm not making peanut butter, and that's something that can be used in a lot of ways and a good protein source. All our dried beans and stuff. I bought a 5 kilo bag of dried black beans recently, so I got 5 kilos of dried black beans, but I've also got about 12 jars on the shelf already canned, so that's fine. I've got a couple of, I haven't put these in here, I've got a couple of bags of white navy beans, but I've also got baked beans already on the shelf. I've got about 3 kilos or more of chickpeas sitting on my shelf, plus I have a whole lot of hummus canned already, and we've got a couple of kilos of dal or lentils sitting in the cupboard already, and a couple of kilos of pearl barley. So we're okay for that because most of that is stuff that we use in winter, so we haven't been using it lately, so it's already here and that's fine. Nut wise, again, something I can't access easily cheap anywhere else. Costco is the cheapest place for me to buy most of this. So I've got 1 kilo of almond flour. I will probably buy a second one. I've got a couple of kilos of whole almonds, but I'll probably buy a couple more because I can always make my own almond flour and almond meal from that, or whatever I want to make. I've already got some slivered almonds, which I use that particular shape for granola. And I've only got a kilo of cashews, so I'll have to have a look and decide that. I've only got a kilo of peanuts too, and we use that for our chili oil, so again, we'll try and top that up. Salt wise, it comes in a 10 kilo bag at Costco. I've only got about half a bag, so I'll probably buy another whole bag because salt is important. Again, with the bouillon and stuff like that, all these sorts of things. I bought a bit of extra I'm going to buy a bit of extra cocoa. I might buy 2 bags of flour instead of 1. I've got the new Kegland buckets, so it should be fine. And 2 bags of plain flour, again, just to have. We've already got a heap of popcorn kernels in the cupboard. We just haven't been eating them as much, so we had plenty of that. I bought a couple extra of the curry pastes to go on the shelf. Frozen veg, we still had 10 in the freezer, so I bought another half a dozen to go in there as well. The problem with the frozen veg is the space it takes up, so we can only fit a certain amount in there. And then cordials, I bought a few extra as well. Laundry detergent, dish detergent, soap and all that. I've been aware of quantities and bumped them up where needed. Shampoo and conditioner, the same thing. Garbage bags, all that sort of stuff. So the plan is just to buy a few bits and pieces extra of all the things that are too hard to get locally, or that will get us through. If we have to go a little bit longer, are going to get us through a little bit longer. That's the plan. And then I have this little sheet where I do planning stuff. So I had an idea. We've been using the pork that I canned, just poured into a pan, fried off and used on wraps and things like that, and flatbreads. A really simple meal to do. I might grab a couple of the pork roast purely just to stick them in jars. we want to try, if there's some meal things that I want to try, those chicken burgers, everyone loved those chicken burgers, so I'll definitely make those chicken burgers again. The sloppy joes, the stuffed sloppy joes that were made, I think it was Alton Brown who did them. I really want to try that with some of the mince, but I've got most of the stuff that's for that, so that's fine. Then I have over here the Coles and the Woolworths, and this is where I show their specials. So for the specials finish on a Tuesday, start on a Wednesday. So the shopping that is being delivered to Mums tonight is the specials that led up till Tuesday. So the specials from Wednesday onwards are things that I've written here. So the Oreos are half price at Woolworths. I didn't buy Oreos in my groceries because nowhere had them half price. Again, a convenience item that the kids really, really enjoy. So, you know, and the boneless chooks at Coles are $10 each on special. Now we're going to try and go to the Golden Cockerel outlet on Friday morning, and if I can get some boneless chooks there, I will. They're only $3 or $4 each, but if not, I might grab a few at Coles on special. I also checked the price of the cat food because I was curious in regards to the one that's on sale at the moment at Coles ends up being 98 cents per 100, but Costco is still 88 cents per 100, so it's still a better value to get it from Costco. I also put a few notes here to remember to get at Costco because sometimes I forget things, so I wanted to get their big thing of peanut oil rather than the small ones, cream cheese because we don't have any at the moment, plus all our normal cheeses. We need to get the cat food, and then I was going to get paper towel there, but it's actually half price at Coles and worked out cheaper per sheet, and I need to make sure to get butter. A few notes that cheese we're going through far more than we were because the kids are having cheese as well on their pizzas and stuff, and it's really expensive locally, so I need to bump up the quantities because it'll sit in the freezer, and that's fine. Coffee beans, again, we're going through more at the moment, especially in winter, so I need to, and they're too expensive to buy locally, so I need to make sure I buy enough. I did make myself some notes on things that, the pricing of things in Costco to have a comparison on, because I was looking at like the cheeses and stuff. So the pizza cheese is $24.99 for 2 kilos, so it's $12.50 a kilo for shredded cheese. And I buy shredded cheese because it's convenient. The ghee is $42.99 for the 3 litres. The Parmesan that I really like is $17.99 for 900 grams. Maple syrup's $18.99 for a litre. Honey is $14.99 for 2 kilos. The Devondale butter is $21.99 for 1.5 kilos. I like the Kirkland brand if I can get it, but I can't always get it. Toilet paper was $23.49 for 48 rolls, $18.99 for 6 of the 700 grams of passadas, and the Kranskis are $14.99 for 1.2 kilos. The Greek yogurt's $18.49 for a 3.5 kilo, all that sort of thing. The things that I buy a lot of that I wanted to compare and make sure that I knew what the pricing was at Costco so I could compare it at other places just in case I wasn't getting the best deal on things. So I went through my receipts and did a quick, note of those sorts of things. So that's how I've planned this month. There is a few things, as I said, that I've gotten extra. I was saying about the convenience things. It's things like the cordials and the sugars and things like that. I've definitely bought more, and I'm going to feel guilty about it when it hits the table and I'm doing all the sun's hitting just the wrong spot, isn't it? And I'm sharing it all because it's going to look worse than I normally like my groceries looking. I'm going to feel like I've spent a lot of money on crap. I'm going to have to make sure that the crap is segregated up into, to make sure it lasts as well, because I'm good at not eating things just because they're there, but the kids aren't because they're children. So things will have to be divvied out a little bit. I got on special the fun size packets of chips, the little packets of chips in the box, and they work out far more expensive per 100 grams because they are in the individual packets, and you've got more rubbish and everything else. I don't generally buy them, but I did buy some as a treat for the kids recently. We were having a Friday movie night, whatever we were doing, and they were on sale, and I grabbed them, and the kids really enjoyed being able to try all the different flavours on their own little packets instead of having to open like one packet of chips that they all share, sort of thing. So they're on special for $7 a box. Again, 20 packs. There's 5 kids, so there's 4 packs each box. And I just felt like it was actually worthwhile. Like, even though it cost even though it's more per 100 grams for the chips, they're actually eating less of them because they're in those pre-portioned little bags, and they get to try all the different flavors. They don't have to all just pick one flavor to share and things like that. So I bought them, I think I got 4 boxes, the 4 different flavor boxes of those and things like that. So there's going to be a lot of things on there that aren't necessarily what I would normally buy, or are going to be in higher quantities than I would normally buy, because I'm just not sure what's going to happen. I feel a little on edge about how much things can change in 6 weeks, and like the things that have changed in the last 6 weeks and just in the cost of fuel, and how that can impact everything. And you sit there and you go, well, what if that doubles again, in that that increase goes up by that same amount again in the next 6 weeks? Will I not shop? And then there's the whole that if with mum living out here, maybe getting to shop where we would normally shop isn't necessarily going to happen, and that's going to impact things too. There's a lot of unknowns at the moment, so I'm investing a little bit more into the groceries this run than is really comfortable, but at the same time is supposed to make me feel a little bit more steady and stable about our food supply for the period of time. And I can make food from nothing. That's one of my better skills, is to just pull stuff out and make a meal. And that's amazing. And because I can make all my own bread and everything too, then it means that I can make filling meals. They're not necessarily as nutritionally balanced as they could be, because, you know, if you're relying on bread and pasta and rice and stuff, but we've got plenty of beans and we've got plenty of meat, and that's the main thing. They just get a little bit boring, but that's life. But I've got all the seasonings here too, so that's the whole point too, is that if I buy extra salt and I've got a wholesale spice order coming in actually. I'll share that as well, because I bought bulk smoked paprika and that. The wholesale spice place that I buy from used to be flat rate shipping if you bought over a certain amount in wholesale, and it's now a $30 flat rate shipping. So I had to do a bigger order than I really wanted to, I don't want to do another order in a few weeks' time and pay another $30 shipping kind of thing. But that's fine. So yeah, that's the plans for this month. And then I've got the Kegland buckets at Mum's place to pick up as well, so I'm going to be reorganizing that. As far as the kitchen goes, it's still not great. We've got the roof, which is amazing, but it's going to stay that way for a little while, because the great big wooden kitchen that's there, it's a big U-shaped kitchen, and that's going to be moved to this side now that there's a proper roof on it. To move it is not going to be fun, just to be frank. It's on kickers, like it's on pedestals. It's a solid wooden kitchen, which is why we bought it. It came out of an old cottage, and it's in 3 pieces, and we have to empty it to move it. And yeah, so it's probably going to be a multi-day task to do. And with Mum's solar needing to be done and everything as well, it's probably going to be put off until after I get all these groceries sorted at least. So, you know, I'm going to get all these groceries home, and then I'm going to need a couple of weeks to get it all sorted. I'm back at work in a couple of weeks and things like that. So there's probably going to be a time span where we just can't do it even if we wanted to. And it'll have to be put off, and I'll just have to deal with what we've got going on and figure it out in the meantime. So anyway, I think that's it. I don't know how long this went for. I'll have a look at it and I'll come back if I need to, if I forgot anything. But yeah, so I'm out to get the bricks today, and then starting my shopping trip today as well. So I will see you on the next one.